Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Scooby Doo Review. I'm your host, Zerk, though you may know me better as Zerk Monster Hunter 4 on YouTube. With me is my co-host, Pen. Say hello, Pen.
Hello, Pen.
We have decided that every week, until we either run out of things to review or expire, we are going to be reviewing a piece of Scooby Doo media. And continuing on with our delve into the 70s era of Scooby Doo, we have 3 more episodes today of the Scooby Doo Show.
What a shocking ghost. The Headless Horseman of Halloween and Scared a Lot in Camelot. However, we will be reviewing those last 2 first.
Yeah. Due to some own interest from ourselves and some power scaling shenanigans, we will be reviewing the latter 2 first, as my co-host so excellently said. So, without any further ado, let's begin our suffering by summarizing the story of Headless Horseman on Halloween.
Oh, I don't want to.
Okay, so just very brief cliff notes here. The gang is at a Halloween masquerade function, soiree. We'll go with soiree.
Yeah, soiree works.
At the house of Beth Crane, who is descendant of Ichabod Crane from the Sleepy Hollow legend. If you guys have ever seen the Johnny Depp one, that's Johnny Depp's character in Sleepy Hollow. Anyways, the Cranes explain about the legend of the Headless Horseman, and the Headless Horseman shows up at the soiree. And some shenanigans happen. Scooby Dum is there, and eventually Scooby Dum and Scooby Doo get chased around by the Headless Horseman. But then they meet this guy named Elwood, who's like kind of a dick bag. And also there's a really creepy butler who's like the only good thing in the episode.
Yeah.
And basically the gang just kind of bumps around with Beth looking for clues and trying to solve the mystery. And then eventually the Headless Horseman steals Elwood's head and then disappears. And the gang has to solve the mystery. And they track down the Headless Horseman, find some clues, figure out that the Headless Horseman is trying to flee in a biplane. There's a biplane chase. And then in the end, it's revealed that Elwood was the Headless Horseman and he was trying to steal his aunt's diamond because his company went under.
Oh, man. Elwood was the Headless Horseman. And wow, such a twist. It really didn't look like he was just in makeup. Like really bad makeup, too. He had Sharpie eyebrows drawn on for angry.
He looks ridiculous. And I want to say a point about this episode. This episode gets immediately worse the second that the Headless Horseman no longer has pumpkin head.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's so painfully obvious. It's just Elwood's face with some makeup on it.
Yeah.
That it's just, oh, yeah, it's not a good episode.
No.
Although
their plan is ridiculously loony too. Like,
yeah.
Wow. And unlike other side characters, right? Like this is the era of Scooby-Doo where like nobody but the gang got like any development whatsoever. So Beth Crane is just a completely nothing character. Like if you thought Daphne's personality in old Scooby-Doo was just girl, Beth Crane is like an even worse offender of being just girl.
From the notes, this woman has so much class that she evolved a different neck structure.
Yeah, that's the aunt who's like got the diamonds, and it's just the whole time she just has this sort of posh scoliosis going on. Yes.
Oh yes, I must look down at you.
Peasant.
Oh no, I'm disappearing.
Pen is dead, guys. I will now be the sole host of the Scooby Doo Review until I find a co-host. Jennifer Hale, call me.
We also get Apex Shoes International, which is Elwood's company, and I just find it funny that it's a shoe company.
Yeah, and it's weird hearing the word Apex because I'm going to date the episode really hard. Apex Cybernetics are an important thing in the new Godzilla vs. Kong movie. And that's just immediately where my mind goes. It's like, hey, I could be spending my time watching that movie. I got to see a monkey punch a lizard in that movie. It was good.
To date this even further, that movie's really good. You should go watch it. It's great.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here, though.
Yeah. So overall...
Prologue.
Tarlov, yes.
Talk about Tarlov.
Let's talk about Tarlov.
I like Tarlov.
Would you like to tell us about Tarlov, Pen?
Tarlov is Lurch from the Addams Family. That's who he is.
He's just fucking Lurch.
I actually have a signed picture from Lurch.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No, it was.
If you guys want to see that, it'll be posted to our Twitter.
I will definitely put it on the Twitter. Tarlov is great. He's this just weird, ominous man. He's one of those butlers that's like definitely buried a body for the mistress at some point in his life. There's a shallow grave unmarked out back because she said, "Oh yes, Tarlov, you must go and get rid of the rabble." And he just said, "Yes, mistress."
Yeah. What I really like about Tarlov is he's super suspicious, but every time the gang asks him, he gives these really long and very specific explanations for everything, to the point where it's like, there's no way you made that up. He's just like, when they ask him why he has white hands, he's like, "I was feeding spice cake to the guests. I was in a rush once I heard the madam call, and I had no time to wash the powdered sugar from my hands."
Sugar.
And then when they're like, "Tarlov, what are you doing stalking about in the night?" "I was going over to the next door neighbors. Somebody chopped down the power lines and cut the phones, so I was going to call the city."
I really like Tarlov, actually. He has potential, I think. His archetype, I like it. I like that.
He's good. He's
good.
good.
Also, they break and enter in this one, don't they?
No, it's in the 10,000 volt ghost. They break
10,000 volt ghost run. Right. Okay, never mind. They go grave robbing. They go grave robbing.
They
That's
do
what
go
they do.
grave robbing. Also petty crime. So the gang is they're petty criminals.
So that's another one on the petty crime counter. Okay, cool. Also another one on the Scooby Dum, because there's Scooby Dum in this, and there's no power scaling for this.
Yeah, it's just really boring episode. The twist and the villain is like really obvious. And a lot of the episode is sort of bookended by this really long biplane sequence that is just kind of nonsensical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not a great episode. But Tarlov is good.
Tarlov's good.
Tarlov's good. Just go watch Tarlov. That's all you need. He's in like 2 scenes.
Just skip through. Just whatever you're watching, just fast forward.
All right. Overall, what did we give it, Zach?
Overall, we gave it. Actually, didn't have the notes up.
The notes 5.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
And we both thought the best gag was the butler.
Yeah, Tarlov easily the best gag.
Absolutely. Okay, on to.
Sorry. For something here.
On to Scared a Lot in Camelot.
Oh boy.
Oh, this episode is really.
I have named this episode on my notes Wizard Time.
Yep.
Wizard Time.
This one includes Shaggy's British grandpa, uncle.
His great uncle.
His great uncle, a magician, and Ghosts of Camelot. So basically, the gang is at a magic show run by Zarko the magician, who is not Wayne Knight, unfortunately. Yeah, so we're like 80% the beginning of Goblin King. This is mostly Goblin King. I'm going to be honest with you. It's got a lot of parallels.
And like Goblin King, this episode is a complete and utter flustercluck.
Yeah. It's just bad. Do we actually really know the plot to this? Because they basically just zip around a lot in the castle.
Yeah. Stuff happens. not around the characters, but because of the characters. Like it's something that was written by someone who wasn't doing copious amounts of cocaine, but this was the 70s, you see, and the writers were on copious amounts of cocaine, and they just decided this episode was fuck it, just shenanigans.
Yeah. Scoob and Shag get hypnotized. So they've lost their hypnosis resistance from What's New. Absolutely. just completely gone. They get real hypnotized in this episode and go. They're really bad at following orders. Really bad at it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So before we get to the hypnosis, though, some notable stuff happens. Like, we're explained that Shaggy's uncle fucking mail ordered Castle Goddamn Camelot from England. And when they get to the castle, they watch the Black Knight ghost just into the wall you go, the caretaker.
Yeeted him right in the wall.
Just fucking yeets him into the wall.
Great.
And then we learned that Red Gandalf, aka the Ghost of Merlin, he's just a dick.
Yeah, an asshole.
And this episode is whack. I wrote down here, literally, I just wrote WTF. Yep,
it's just really weird, and it doesn't make a huge amount of sense. It's honestly hard to keep straight in my own head what actually happened.
Yeah, like they just go from gag to gag to gag to gag. There's no actual process of solving the mystery in this, like there was in like High Rise Hair Raiser. There was like a lot of process and stuff like that. And again, that episode wrapped up really nicely with a very clear explanation for literally everything that happened. And in this episode, it's just like, fuck it. You know,
whatever.
Just shit happens. You guys want to see Scoob and Shag fuck with a wizard?
That's cool. What they do the whole episode, basically. Turns out to be Zarko, the magician, because he's a wizard. You see, and they figured it out because when he started haunting, he always started at 12:15 because he had to get from his magic shows to the castle.
Yeah, because that's how long it takes.
His ghosts start at midnight. Those are the rules. Midnight.
According to Daphne Blake, ghosts start at midnight.
It's ghost o'clock now.
It's ghost time, motherfucker. Man, it's just like, man, when I'm up late playing video games, right, and it's like just right at midnight, it's like the fucking ghost comes up. It's like, boy, you still playing Monster Hunter? Really, man? I'm like trying to haunt your ass, and you're still playing Monster Hunter. What are you, some kind of nerd?
It's time to go so clock. Okay. Anyway, this is a bad episode, but it's slightly better than the Halloween Horseman. So,
and the gang destroy. They commit a lot of property damage to the uncle's castle. By the way, like they destroy a harp. Do you know how expensive harps are?
He's got a bucket full of jewels. He doesn't care. He's got a bucket full of jewels.
He'll just buy another goddamn harp, I guess.
You think this man has any conception of what a dollar actually means? He just throws jewels at people. That's how he got Camelot here. Just poured some jewels.
Hi, I'd like to buy this castle, please. Dumps a fucking bucket of emeralds. Boy, mate, yeah, sure.
Yeah, whatever.
We'll get the stonemasons transferred over to fucking Massachusetts for you, real quick, right there, bro.
He takes the whole castle from England. That would be
Oh yeah, and then at the end they find that this organ is like controlling all the magic in the castle.
Mm-hmm.
And Daphne's like playing the organ and she gets her finger stuck and there's just this like moist squelching noise while her finger's stuck and it's very off-putting.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
I don't like it.
But yeah, that's the episode. It's fucking weird.
Why? What? This is
okay, and I think that let's just wrap this up. So you gave it a 6 out of 10.
I did. I don't know. That's the number that came to mind.
I gave it a 6.5. So
I don't know what you were on giving
average.
that rating, but
meh, you know. And then we have our actual headliner, the well, what a shocking ghost.
These puns just get every time worse and worse.
Oh, the puns are
I
great.
wrote down exactly. It's shocking how bad these episode title puns are.
However, viewers, this episode is really good.
Oh yeah, no. This
Whoa.
okay, this is actually though. I'm legitimately excited. This is episode 4. What we just reviewed were episode 5 and 6. For my money's worth, you could, if you're planning on watching this yourself, you can skip episode 5 and 6. But episode 4, let let me just say, this shit is like top tier, dude. This
absolutely.
is top tier. And I mean that not in just terms of episode quality. I mean, like, if we were making the power scale today, oh boy, we got some math for you guys later in this episode. So Penn, I would ask you to please start us off with the theremin soundtrack to our introduction to our villain this week.
Okay, so we start off with snowy landscapes, trees, pine trees, as a weird glowing man walks through a snowy wonderland. He walks up to a gate and immediately melts a padlock off of the gate and walks into a power plant. We immediately transition to the gang driving. And then I lose it a little bit. Take it away, Zach.
So the gang is driving and their heater just went out because they are running out of gas and trying to save fuel. So Fred turned off the heater. Good job, Fred. You are freezing your companions to death, and all Velma has is a miniskirt.
Yeah, she just wears a miniskirt.
So the gang is like trying to get to the next town, and they realize there's 1 mile to this next town over, which is Winter Haven. And Shaggy are able to accurately judge the distance to the next town based on how close the burger place is.
Yep.
Cool.
You know, he's got that burger smell. He saved them a few times by being able to smell food from miles away. And what's new?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And they end up sort of in the cold, ending up in this sort of abandoned ski town. And they end up going into the ski lodge where they meet the mayor of the town, who's kind of holed up there in the cold. And the mayor of the ski lodge explains that some unknown time ago, there was this big blizzard that knocked out the power lines. And the power company guy, who's like kind of this probably anti-union dude, sent out his chief electrician, this guy named Voltner. I know. Voltner,
yeah.
To go check on the power lines and get them repaired. But Voltner never came back. And the implication was that Voltner got fucking vaporized by the high tension wires. And then they said, as the storm raged on, eventually Voltner's ghost, which is an electric abomination, basically, started scaring everybody away from the town, and the town became deserted because of the 10,000 volt ghost, which is a totally ridiculous name, but it's, I don't know, I think that's actually underselling how powerful this goddamn thing is.
Yes, absolutely. And remember, viewers, it's not the volts that'll kill you, it's the amps.
Yeah. So the gang is like, ghost? Well, we're in the business of ghosts, you see. We're going to solve your electric ghost problem. So they roll up to the power plant and they find the first side of the 10,000 volt ghost, which is this skate of track that the 10,000 volt ghost walking literally melted into the snow, causing it to like refreeze behind him.
They also find the gate melted almost entirely.
Literally goddamn melted by this thing's mere presence. Oh God.
Frankly, we will get to the implications of this later. Just keep going.
So you have all this build up and all this neat lore to like one of the most terrifying villains we've found so far. And we eventually get into the power plant where the 10,000 volt ghost is watching the gang from behind. It's just general sort of good, spooky Scooby Doo atmosphere. This is the stuff I love. They run into the power plant director, the guy who's anti-union and sent out Volkner. And he's, of course, just an angry capitalist man. So naturally, he's immediately suspicious. But otherwise, the gang is like, this dude's acting weird for a guy who has a deadly ghost following him. So then they decide to split up and search the power plant for clues to see if they can find the ghost. And Scooby and Shaggy run into the monster as per the formula. And actually, right before they split up, even back in the 70s, they were making fun of the formula because Casey Kasem points out directly, yeah, we know. Scoob and I will go this way, Fred. You and the girls will go that way. And then he says, why is our way always scarier? They knew, even back then. And that's just some warm fuzzies to me because I love when Scooby-Doo self-satirizes and does self-aware things. It's nice.
Absolutely. Me too. It's a really fantastic part. But now,
so they run into the 10,000 volt ghost.
Actually, first, the schnoz.
Oh, yeah. So they run into the 10,000 volt ghost. And they flee into the kitchen because Scooby smells something.
His schnoz extends across the room.
Like 40 feet extendo schnoz. Like it's Pinocchio or some shit.
40 feet extendo schnoz. I'm writing that on the power scaling list. And now we get to the part where a lot of our calculations in math come in.
Yeah, so Penn, I'll let you explain what happens, and then I shall explain the math behind this.
Right. Okay. So Scooby and Shaggy, they walk into the kitchen. They search around in the refrigerator to find some food, but they find 2 hamburgers in the freezer, absolutely frozen thick. Like they're bricks.
They're hockey. You could play hockey with them.
You could play hockey with them. Then they say that they need something to cook these on. And, through the door comes a very large electric glowing man who touches the bottom of the skillet, causing the burgers to cook from absolutely frozen, deep freeze. Like the freaking refrigerator has been on. They've been exposed to the elements. To completely cooked and smoking in 21 seconds. We timed this.
We counted 21 seconds. We consulted some outside help, and we figured that the amount of energy that would take to heat it through in 21 seconds would be the equivalent of about 21 pounds of gasoline. Now, to put into perspective how much energy that is actually releasing in 21 seconds, 20 pounds, gasoline is mostly liquid octane. Octane releases per mole about 5,000 kilojoules per mole. Now, these are all big chemistry words. Basically, a mole is a denomination of a certain amount of a given substance.
Very, very small.
Yeah. So a mole is a standardized unit to determine how, it's totally reacted. So if you totally combust enough moles of octane to reach 21 pounds, you are producing in 21 seconds about 452,000 kilojoules, which, if you consider that in a single minute, a nuclear reactor will produce about 48 kilojoules by slowly eroding uranium, you would need to run a nuclear reactor for about 6.5 days to put out the amount of energy that this 10,000 volt ghost is emanating from his hands into the skillet, into the burgers, in 21 seconds. Shaggy and Scooby are experiencing what is essentially their own personal Chernobyl, merely standing next to this thing, giving off the amount of energy per second of several nuclear reactors. This ghost is the most powerful human technology we have ever encountered in Scooby-Doo. Just straight up.
Straight up.
Based on these numbers, this thing is insane.
Voltner is a goddamn evil genius, and he can flash fry anybody with a touch. Actually, he doesn't even need to touch them. He can just do it from across the room.
If in any realistic scenario, if you stand 10 feet next to this guy, you would be dead within seconds as your insides turn to ash.
Ooh.
Your blood would boil. Literally, your blood would boil standing next to this thing.
Now, I would like to state that I am not actually super sure how much energy this is. And this is all just a very rough estimation. And if anybody else has any relevant experience that is listening to this podcast, please put a comment down. I would love to hear your thoughts on cooking burger in 21 seconds.
Because we figure the amount of heat energy required to do that led us to these numbers. And
yes.
This is terrifying.
It is. It truly is. This man, this Voltner, a mad scientist driven by revenge, he's basically his own personal nuclear reactor. Yeah. This man's battery pack is so powerful that he could level cities with it. He is a one-man army.
Just by walking through them. You wouldn't even have to do anything. It's like that scene in King of the Monsters, and I know I reference Godzilla a lot, but when Godzilla goes nuclear and he's just fucking melting shit, that's what it would look like.
There are also a few other instances throughout the episode, like the fact that this man is more durable than a concrete wall.
Yeah. And he's also seen melting other doors throughout the episode.
Yeah, he just melts a hole straight through a wall, basically.
Yeah. That's not scary.
His only weakness is water if it shorts out his battery pack.
Which...
we don't have any water benders in this bracket.
No, yet. We don't. So it's not. It's looking like a Volkner clean sweep. I'm sorry.
Like, this is the kind of thing. Like, Manu was our highest sort of mortal level in What's New, right? Manu could shoot fireballs. He could take a whole bunch of damage. Manu is a scorching pile of meat on the ground next to Volkner.
He just is.
There's no contest at all. You just put your hand out and he's just gone.
You just vaporizes you. Volkner looks at you funny and you're toast.
Oh man. This still again.
We still have half an episode to talk about, but I feel like it's just over. The Scooby Gang should have lost.
They should have lost, but thanks to Fred's ingenuity, and this is once again another one of the things. Fred is way more powerful in this timeline, in this continuity, than he is in What's New. His traps. He makes an electromagnet out of this man's enormous power source and lets Shag and Scoob take him down for a ride to the jail.
Yeah, and in that process, so yeah. Okay, so following the 10,000 volt ghost showing how overpowered it is, the gang basically goes out to look for clues. Shaggy, Scooby, and Velma, and we get a great visual gag with the snowmobile, go to the pet shop where they find Monkey, and they interrogate a very, very useful parrot.
He's a stool pigeon.
Yeah. This parrot is amazingly useful. As Velma says, this parrot's batting 1,000 because he gets he just basically cracks the case wide open for them.
He's on the power scale, but he's like a D.
Yeah. So anyways, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby find a secret tunnel. Probably that tunnel was built by just having Volkner walk forward and melting it under the ground.
Yeah, I seriously, that tunnel is huge, and it would have taken him years to dig that thing. But he has the power of nuclear fission, so nothing matters.
Nothing matters anymore. Nothing matters. The 10,000 volt ghost is is S+.
S+, absolutely.
So, Daphne and Fred don't find much. They find a letter that kind of like cracks, is sort of the missing link. And then the gang goes to a real estate records place to sort of match up the letter to land parcels, because in classic Scooby-Doo faction, a man invented a goddamn super weapon fission suit because he wanted some cheap real estate.
Yeah, he just wanted to buy some cheap real estate. That's it.
And they in the records, they have the shot from the intro where it's the 10,000 volt ghost rummaging through the file cabinets, and it's great to see that. It's always cool when you see stuff on the intro. I know Phineas and Ferb, for instance, did a big deal about like hitting all the boxes on the intro, so it's that sort of always made me pay attention to stuff like that, especially in shows that reference things in the intro. But anyways, Fred makes the magnet trap, as we already mentioned, and the villains are unmasked as Volkner being in cahoots with the mayor to buy up all the land for cheap so that they can build a highway through the town.
Always a highway.
It's always
it's always some weird kind of like
some sort of infrastructure element.
Ramayam wanted to build a highway to New Guinea for no goddamn reason.
New Zealand, I'd understand, but New Guinea, really?
Whatever. This episode is really good. I really like it.
I love this episode, honestly. This is great.
This is a new highest tier for us. For the Scooby Doo Show. What did we give it, Zach? How are we at the end here?
I think we are. I wrote down here, battery pack bullshit. This man can manipulate goddamn lightning.
Yeah, he can. Power scale is going to be weird this year.
Yeah, it's going to be weird. Like, Jaguaro is going to register like a fucking C, and he's going to seed against the 10,000 volt ghost. And like,
but I love Jaguaro.
I love Jaguaro. I love Jaguaro too, but literally anybody who goes against Volkner is quite literally toast.
Yes. I think the only people that could take him are Shaggy and Scooby, or somebody with water powers, because they would just zerp him out.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We haven't gotten through the whole season yet, folks.
Yeah. Your only hope against the 10,000 volt ghost is to disable it before he gets close.
God help us all.
God help us all.
Okay.
So I gave that episode a 9 out of 10. And the best gag was, of course, the goddamn skillet.
I gave it an 8.5 out of 10, and that skillet, man. I seriously, if anybody is listening to this and knows anything about like thermal dynamics or however the hell you calculate this, I want to know. I really, really want to know. All right.
We tried our best, but my best is whatever I learned in second year organic chemistry. So
absolutely. I would love to know exactly how I can calculate how much energy this man is putting out so we can accurately do a power scale. So
yeah. Anybody
out there, I'm begging you, ask your friends, ask your mom, ask your cousin, ask your uncle, ask your, I don't know, the guy down the street who smells. Yeah, whatever. But with that,
I think that's the episode.
Done.
Yeah.
Well,
let's go to our scorecard then, Pen.
Okay, so we have at least one more Scooby Dum due to the fact that there is another episode of Scooby Dum in it.
Mm-hmm.
And we only actually have just another petty crime counter. So how many things of petty crime do you think they commit in this? I think it was 3?
Yeah,
4?
I think. Okay, so there's the property damage in the wizard episode. There's the grave robbing in the Headless Horseman one, and then there's a B&E in the 10,000 volt ghost.
Then that is 3 petty crimes for the gang in this episode of
episodes.
Episode of TSDR. If you enjoy our podcast and would like to contact us, you can follow us on Twitter at do_review or email us at the Scooby Doo Review at gmail.com. And that's the episode, everybody. Thanks for listening. And remember, we couldn't make this podcast without these meddling kids and their dumb dog. Bye-bye.
See you, everyone.